From West Virginia Public Broadcasting.
Imam Chaudhry, thank you for being with us today. What were your first impressions about this documentary? What were your initial thoughts?
Well, I was part of the documentary since its start, and Brittany Huckabee, who's the producer director of the documentary, she contacted us at the mosque, and I was there all the way when it was being filmed. And there were all kinds of concerns about what the documentary might show. And the first time I watched it, I found that it was not the way many people thought in the community. I thought it was a pretty fair assessment of the situation in Morgantown. But that being said, it did not cover, or it did not show all aspects which somebody who's living in the community would understand. There are many dynamics of the mosque in Morgantown and the community in Morgantown.
Do you think it's accurate?
I do not think it's entirely accurate. It does bring out a few issues which were accurate and which had been part of the think tank of the Islamic Center of Morgantown from its very beginnings. The issue of some people who want to follow the religion very literally, as opposed to those who want to follow it from a very liberal or a very modern approach. That has always been part of any mosque or any community in Morgantown or in the United States. But I thought that there were some issues which it did not bring about. One of the things which it seemed to me was that the documentary shows that all the changes and all the good things are coming about due to Asra's efforts in the community. And that is not accurate at all. The community had always been struggling to resolve these kind of issues and problems. When the documentary started, the mosque had just shifted to the new Islamic Center, and the community was growing. Every community needs time to mature. And I think the Morgantown community was passing through that maturity phase when the documentary was being filmed. So it does not bring out the stages of how the community matured over time. And I think it gives a little bit of credit to Asra, where I think that other people who worked really hard to bring about positive things in the masjid, in the mosque, were not shown, and they were not given the due credit they deserve.
How did Asra Nomani's efforts to change the way women worship in the Morgantown Mosque affect other members of the mosque?
I don't think it has brought about any change. Many women in the mosque, before she came, preferred to pray in their separate area, and they still do. So I don't see that there is a major change which she brought there. There were no rules from the very start which said that women are not allowed to pray in the main prayer hall. The women were always allowed to pray in the main prayer hall, and they are still. But many women, and the majority, chose not to, and that's entirely up to them. And I don't see that really there was a change in the women's rights movement, or women are getting to do more than they used to before. As I said, that every community matures and it takes time for issues to be resolved. The women participation in the mosque has grown since the start, and now we have women teachers teaching at the Islamic school. We have women who are representing the community in the executive committee. We have women representing the community in the school board. So, women were always part of the community, and now they are even more actively participating. So as far as a big change, I don't see a big change. I see a gradual change, which I think would have happened naturally, even if Asra had not come.
There's no way you can institute a big sweeping change in a mosque and then people will follow. You need to bring people to the table. Especially in this community, a silent, persistent, activism is what leads to change. And I think as time has gone along, we've seen this new executive committee is empowering the community to make their own changes.
My husband and myself were elected among the 9 members. Everyone chose what they want to serve, and then we voted on that. Dr. Hani Ammar is the responsible for maintenance now. In the past, they used curriculum from Saudi Arabia, and then we started to search for another source. And what's good about these books, they are using English.
So I think we've come a long way in trying to put the mainstream of the Muslim viewpoint out into the public.
I don't dress like this for an imaginary husband or a culture that dictates my life from miles abroad. This is faith, a belief in the eternity of the soul after bodies decompose into non-existence. Thank you.
We're also giving the media greater access to the mosque.
So this place is exclusively dedicated to women.
We're also talking about getting more involvement among the sisters.
We might think that there's no need for this place, but a lot of women, they prefer praying here.
It's getting there. It just takes time.
The Morgantown Mosque serves Muslims from many different cultures and backgrounds. Are the issues that Azra raised, in your opinion, about a culture clash between people from different countries who have different perspectives on what it means to be Muslim?
Those issues were always there. And the problem was the way you resolve those issues. You don't just label people as extremists and as fundamentalists if they have a different opinion on certain issues than you. The mosque is run democratically. We have elections every couple of years. And that's one of the things we told Asra initially, that if she thinks that there are certain things which need to be changed in the mosque, then she needs to run for elections and see if she has enough support in the community. If she does, she's more than welcome to become part of the board, to become part of the decision-making process. But instead of going that route, she took a very aggressive route, and she, put names of different community members in different papers in the U.S., labeling the mosque as an extremist mosque, led by people who are similar to those who executed Daniel Pearl, which is not true at all. So that cultural clash always existed and will always exist because this is natural. But the way you resolve it is through dialogue, through talking to each other, through educating each other, through patience, through tolerance for each other's viewpoints. But she showed complete intolerance towards the views of other mosque members.
Had she gone about this in the right way, had she gotten the support of the moderate people such as myself, we could have made 10 years progress in 10 months' time. But the way she did it, there was no benefit, and it made everyone look bad.
One point I would like to add is that the documentary does show a few mosque members as, extremists or fundamentalists. And I do not want anybody who sees that documentary to have that opinion about those mosque members. That could be Asra's opinion, but the majority of the community knows these members of the mosque. They are part of the West Virginia University for a number of years. They are serving the community as doctors, engineers, and those are respectable, honorable members of the community who are doing great service to the greater Morgantown community. But unfortunately, the documentary portrays them as people who are trying to radicalize or, create fundamentalism in the mosque, and that is not true at all.